Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Unbalanced with me, Cerys Davage. How are we all doing? Happy Sunday. I am back with another interview episode with another person I've met online. Can you believe it? And this time I'm really excited to chat to Fiona. Hi.
Hi everyone, Fiona here, and a little bit about me. I'm a medical student, second year at University of Sheffield, and I've spoken openly on social media about my experience with PCOS, previously having a brain tumor, and advocating for work-life balance within healthcare professionals. And I think that psychosocial aspects of having these mental and physical illnesses is one that's massively overlooked in healthcare. And so that's what I'm trying to promote and advertise and advocate for in my Instagram.
Amazing. And obviously, that's how I came across you. I want to know a bit about your studies. What are you studying? How long have you been doing it? How long is left?
So medicine is a 5-year degree, and six of you want to intercalate, like do another degree, like a bachelor's or a master's in the middle. And a lot of people do that. But for me, it's 5 years because I took a gap year. So I don't want to do another year out. It's currently my second year. So I passed first year last June. And now I'm here studying for my second year exams. Revision is rough. I can't lie. We're currently on endocrinology, which is like diabetes, lots of hormone stuff, Cushing's disease, which is all very tiring, but I'm getting through it day by day. So we're getting there.
That's great. I mean, I wouldn't even know where to start. Medicine is not my strong point at all. And I mean, I know I've got a condition and I'm supposed to know all the science behind it, but I'm still wrapping my head around everything. And so I can't imagine having to learn about all these different types of conditions and how they come about scientifically. It's so interesting.
As a patient, like I think you'll understand this as well when sometimes patients really are the best doctors, because in a way, like previously, historically, it used to be like, oh, the doctor knows everything. But as a patient, you do more on these types of research than typical GPs do, especially when it comes to rare diseases. I know you have a specific type of like muscular dystrophy. These rare diseases, not many GPs come across often. And so patients really are the best resource that they have. They have like support groups for each other. And it's just, we shouldn't, like as healthcare professionals, we shouldn't overlook the knowledge and the understanding that patients already have, especially as no one advocates for you. So I think that sometimes patients do know best, and I'm pretty sure you know that as well.
Oh, definitely. I mean, if it wasn't for me having to research into this condition, no one else would. And I wouldn't know anything about it because I wouldn't know anyone that could give me that information. Like you said, GPs, like most of the time I have to explain what my condition is to the GPs just so they have like, a basic understanding of it. But yeah, is that something that maybe inspired you to study medicine?
Definitely. I feel like, as in, I did like a little publication on a rare disease patient who had both deaf and blindness. And it's definitely rare in the fact that as healthcare professionals, you see that not every part of the curriculum you're able to put into your clinical practice, because our brain can only like withstand so much information that's not feasible for all GPs or primary care practitioners to research every single part. And that's why I think it's so important for you to have a little community, for you to like share resources. And I think that played a part in me as well, because like I had a brain tumor, which is a specific type of like cavernous hemangioma, which is basically like a lesion of blood vessels. Like they all burst and it causes like this intracranial pressure, which is basically like pressure inside our brain that's like pressing on specific parts. So it's like you go blind, you have seizures, you could go into like a coma or something. But I think having this type of like experience is so important in medicine, like lived experience and stuff like that. So nurses, like doctors, physiotherapists, we can all benefit from having like a family member close to us going through the same thing, or us going through the same thing. And I think that makes us more compassionate and more empathetic as providers in the future. And yeah, honestly, like there's no reason why you as a person can't go into healthcare, because it's definitely difficult and there are definitely like sacrifices you have to make, but it's not inherently difficult. It's just that for anyone who's watching who's might be interested in like medicine, but they're not smart enough or they don't know well enough, it's definitely not the case. I got in and it's difficult, but if you put the hours in, it's not how difficult it is, but like how much you're willing to, I don't know, like sacrifice for it. That's not a nice word. It's like you're not really giving anything up, but you're like passionate about it and you have to have a drive and like motivation to go for that.
It sounds like you're kind of dedicating your life to that. And I guess lived experiences couldn't match up to science on paper. You know, there's just that extra level of like compassionate, like you said, and just knowing exactly what that patient is going through. The brain tumor you were talking about, tell me about how old you were, how you found out about it, your diagnosis process. What was that like?
Okay, so I was 16 and then this was like GCSE time when I just finished my GCSEs. It was like COVID, so no one was really like allowed in the ward. And the symptoms were very general. It was just like I kept vomiting like 5 a.m., 6 a.m. every morning. So 3 days later, my mom was like, if you start vomiting again, like I'm going to take you to the hospital. And this was in Hong Kong. So it was like healthcare there is way better than the NHS, for lack of a better word, because like people get straight to the point. They actually like it's a really good form of public healthcare. So we got to the GP because I had headaches, I had like double vision, and it was just chaotic. But once I got there, it was like, oh, nothing's really wrong with you. Like, we'll just check the brain or anything. So they sent me to a CT scan, and then there was like a tennis ball like size thing. And that's kind of where like taking photos, like I just took photos of the little scans. I started documenting my patient journey because even though I wasn't interested in medicine at the time, I wanted to do everything else like accounting, business, economics, physiotherapy or something. I just was really fascinated in this like medical process, considering it was like, oh, I'm going through this, like maybe it'll be interesting or important in the near future. I don't know. But after that experience, it truly like turned me. Because through the surgery, I had a female neurosurgeon who was so like cool. I also had like a lot of nurses around me, like talking about their experience in healthcare. Like they were all going through like placements or something. And it was just really cool. Seeing like all the healthcare stuff. And I was like, I want to be part of like meaningful change like that. And yeah, we're here now.
Wow, that's so cool. It's so weird that like something that can be so traumatic can actually like shape who you are now.
Exactly.
And not only, not only are you more resilient and compassionate, like you said, but also like you've chosen your career based off of that experience.
Exactly.
Which is, wow.
It's like you never notice how the small things like become so big in your life. Like it's the butterfly effect, like when it flaps its wings and then one event could dramatically change the trajectory of your life. It's just so interesting because like there must be a reason that these things happen to these specific people and that can impact them and the people around them, like do you ever wonder like the life you would be living if you didn't have this?
All the time. I think about this way too much. Like I have an existential crisis when I think about it too much, because I'm like, wow, like if I didn't give dance up as a child, like would I still be dancing now? Would that have led me to, a different career? Would that have led me into like meeting someone that's like changed my life? Like it is such a weird thought, but yeah, I mean, this obviously
you should definitely get back into dance. Definitely get back into dance. Like adult ballet, that's so cute. Like I just got back into it recently. Like ballet, because I stopped after I got to like the pre-professional level. I stopped and then I just picked it back up and I lost basically all my skills, but it's still fun. Like you should definitely do it because it helps with so much with like work-life balance, and you just like explore a different, more creative part of yourself in the process. So definitely do it.
Everyone says that like dance is just the best form of exercise, but also just like making your day so much better, feeling so much happier. And I always thought, well, now I've got this condition, like I can't move my muscles as well as I used to. Like I probably can't dance now, but I'm sure there's a way around it. You know, I'm sure there is like there's some kind of dance out there that's suitable.
Definitely. Like I think even in my Pilates classes, they have these mind body connect sessions for patients with like lower mobility. And there's definitely ways to go around it. Like they have they put their little like chairs together, and then it's just like a group session, and you're surrounded by people who are similar to you and have the same like abilities as you. And it's no different to any like other regular session. It's quite different now, I feel like, because in the past it's like if you have a disability, you're kind of estranged from regular society. But nowadays it's so different.
There's so much, like there's so many options. It's so nice to see. And yeah, I guess I've only seen more of it since like joining like the disability side of social media. Like there's so much out there. There's wheelchair dance if you look for it. Like there's just insane stuff out there, and it's just really nice to see that there is something for everyone pretty much. So I used to go to Pilates classes, and then I thought like, oh, I can't keep up, so I just have to stop. I'll just like do my own thing at a different time. But I still want to like challenge myself and go to these classes and just maybe find my own version of it, or like join a class that have people that have similar abilities to me. So I think I was just trying to fit into like the Pilates girl kind of, you know, wake up at 5 a.m. and aesthetic, and to go like, you know, hardcore all the time and go for like 5K runs and stuff every morning. Like that's just not me. So I think I need to find my own version of that, you know, like everyone's
definitely, yeah, everyone's so different, and you don't have to like fit into a specific like Instagram. Like you don't have to follow this person to a T. Like you can be your own person. And in the past, that was like corny as hell. But now it's like, why do people care about what you're doing with your life? Like, exactly.
The truth is, no one cares but you know?
Exactly. That's so true.
That's something you do a lot on your social media, is to just advocate for people that don't feel like they fit into the aesthetics, like you said, and still have, you know, difficult days, and you do your best to showcase that and like showcase the balance. And obviously your studies are quite full on. Tell us why you got into social media to begin with.
So believe it or not, I started Instagram when I started on TikTok as like a medical applicant like page. So it was like, let me teach you how to do UCAT, like how to get through these medical admissions. Let me teach you how to like get through the interviews. And that was great at first. Like that definitely got me a foot through the door. But then on Instagram, I was like, okay, cross posting doesn't really work because they had different niches. So they have different audiences. So I was like, okay, let's move away from medicine and maybe more towards like healthcare as a whole aspect. So healthcare, including your mental side, your physical side, outside of medicine. So taking care of your health outside of healthcare. I guess it's more accessible and more relatable for you to relate to a whole group of people rather than a small group. But I think in that, I actually found that my mental health was so largely based on what I focus on. So previously I was like, okay, let me teach these people how to get into medical school. But internally, that wasn't really making me feel good about myself, because I was like, I have to be set at this high standard. I have to wane off the imposter syndrome every now and then. I don't think I'm cut out for this role. And that was just like the thought process every time I posted. And now it's kind of like, even if people comment like hateful things or negative things, like I know who I am and I like the things that I post. And it's moved more towards a like focus on yourself, focus on your well-being, because at the end of the day, you're the only person you have. It's going well so far. Like I might change up the content like a little bit. It's just like depending on what I want to post, honestly. Like don't take it too seriously and have fun with it.
That's so nice. Obviously, that's how I found you, just from posting these things. And like you said, you're not catering to a small niche anymore. You're catering to quite a big group of audiences, even people that aren't studying medicine like me. Like, you're still showcasing the importance of balance in your life, and, you know, not just the aesthetic stuff. You showcase like your actual studies. And I've left university now, but I know how difficult it is to go through uni and still try to live like the best life you can. It's do a lot of personal things as well as, like, you know, not letting your studies take over your whole life at that point. Was that difficult? And is it still difficult to basically be a full-time content creator as well as being a student?
I think it's so difficult, but obviously I'm saying that like knowing full on that there are people who do way more than me and work way harder than me and put much more effort than me. But I think it's challenging in the way that you kind of have two different like sides to you, like medical student as well as content creator, but then you don't really have time in between to like focus on yourself, like off time. So I've tried to put little pockets of like things that bring normalcy to my life. So for example, at night I'll watch like 2 episodes of Vampire Diaries, or I'll put off like doing flashcards for a day and I'll just take a walk in the park. And being a content creator, you never really switch off. So you always feel the urge, like take your phone out, take a video, like go edit something. But it's challenging, but I love the work that I do. So I'm not too fussed about it. Like there's no other way that I would go about it because I love medicine. So there's no way that I can like quit because I've gone so far already. And there's also like a whole side to content creation that I really love. And it's genuinely become a part of me through these past 2 to 3 years. Being able to interact with people, I think like so many people send me like DMs going like, oh, you've like inspired this part of me. Like I got into medical school because of you, or like I really want to try this like class that you went to or the studio that you went to. Can you like send me the name or something? Like those little influences throughout my day genuinely just make me so happy. And yeah, it can be tiring sometimes and it can be draining, but it's the best decision I ever made for myself. I love it.
So nice. I'm glad you don't see it as work, because that would be just really sad, and I'm sure it would make your mental health a lot worse. So content creation is so fun. I guess it's just like always coming up with different ideas and like
Ideas, yeah.
yeah,
You have to be seen as like the phone like addict, like just scrolling and scrolling. But I think once you get out there and you think of ideas on your own, like day in the lives, you can do like a little vlog, you can do a voiceover, you can do a fun trend, you can always like hop on some trending audios or not. Like that's also a trend in itself now, like just not using a trending audio. And it's just fun. Like content creation it's not hard. I'm not gonna lie. Like the stress of posting consistently and every day is hard. But once you get there, it's like you can just have fun with it. And I think initially starting up, you have something to prove with yourself. But nowadays I'm trying to tell people that like you don't really need to prove anything to anyone except yourself. I think at the end of the day, like nobody cares what you're doing, like in the best way possible. So
exactly. And like you said, it's so rewarding when you hear the response. Obviously, we ignore the negative comments, but the positive comments and DMs is like what keeps me going and what inspires me to just keep making content, because I know that it does help people and relates to people, but also it helps me knowing that other people can relate to what I'm going through, you know?
Yeah, definitely. It's so rewarding seeing so many different professions being inspired by each other as well, because I mainly like cater towards like healthcare people, but also like health is a part of every person, like regardless of what you do, like what ethnicity you are, what age you are, where you're from. There's definitely no limit to it. I mean, my audience is like 93% women. So that's amazing because I always talk about like PCOS and these trivial symptoms that always affect women, especially in burnout and work-life balance. Like that's a huge thing when it comes to being told like you're not doing well enough for your role, or you're not getting paid enough, or your pain is not valid, like that kind of thing. It's so demoralizing to hear. And I always speak about that when catering towards a large audience, but also more predominantly towards women. So I'm so grateful that I've reached the right audience and that my algorithm is doing me well.
Yeah, because that's difficult, you know, like you post content for a specific type of audience and maybe it won't always reach that audience. But I'm
Exactly.
so happy about that. And obviously, you're very open about your PCOS journey as well, that I'm sure a lot of women are very grateful for. And, you know, just glad that they have something to relate to. Can you tell us a bit about your journey with PCOS?
I would say it's like less of a journey and more of just a realization that over the years, these small things are actually part of something bigger. But I know that PCOS has severity in different people, so different types of severity. And for me, it's not as strong. So I don't have, I don't have male pattern balding or I don't have chest hair or any like different hair, but I was always like a very hairy kid. Like it's just the little things. And one time it was because of my periods just coming very irregularly. Like I had a 3 week period once and it was absolutely crazy.
Oh, that sounds awful.
No, it was like horrible. Just being someone who was always a heavy bleeder, I was just like, okay, maybe it's time to get checked out. And then a few blood tests later, a few ultrasounds later, it was, oh, you have PCOS. So I asked him, I was like, what can I do about this now? And then he was like, there's nothing you can really do. Like if you want medication for your symptoms, we can give you like birth control or something. And I was just like, okay, there must be so many other people who are being told that there's no like treatment for this. And it sucks that there's no treatment, but it makes sense in the fact that the symptoms are so varying within woman to woman. Of course, they will treat the symptoms, and there's no like one pill that will cover every single person in the right way, especially since PCOS is so diverse in a way and it like affects every woman differently. And there's different size cysts and there's different like symptoms. Like some people just lose their period completely and some people have massive heavy periods. I understand why medicine is like that traditionally, but also it's more about raising awareness for this kind of thing and for to prepare women for how to approach like medical practices and how to approach like their mental health, especially living with PCOS, how to raise awareness for androgenism and having that hormonal imbalance in their life and just coping with it and being more mindful of period pains and period durations and talking about all things women. Yeah.
All things woman.
All things women. Yeah. Love being a
Exactly. And
woman.
like the more people that share their experiences and speak up about it, the more information there is out there for people that maybe don't know what they're doing, don't know how to approach this kind of stuff. So I guess the more noise we make about these kind of things, the better.
Exactly. Yeah. There's definitely so much like patient information out already. But if you talked about it on social media, for example, like maybe someone you know also has it. And even though they might not tell you, like that's still gratifying in knowing that you're not the only one. Because especially on the internet, like when you see another patient talk about it, it might not have the same significance or effect as if someone in your own family or someone in your immediate like friend group had it. So just talking about it and comforting other people who might be going through the same thing. That's just really important in solidifying these kind of relationships with each other.
Exactly. That's such a nice way of putting it. And yeah, the work you're doing on social media to raise awareness is amazing. Please keep going. And I know that it definitely inspires a lot of other women to be open about sharing their experiences as well, because it's still a bit of a taboo subject and not everyone feels comfortable talking about it. So I guess, yeah, the more people that raise awareness about it, the more comfortable other women feel in their own experiences.
That's so great. My eyes are tearing because my eyes are dry.
Not because of not you're not emotional.
I'm so emotional.
I want to ask, what are your future plans?
Okay, future plans. Okay, immediate future. I have a lecture in like 4 hours. I have lectures pretty much every day now. And then maybe in the future, a year from now, hopefully I'll be doing some cool like cancer research, especially since I'm applying for a few like teaching, not teaching, like being the student fellowships for cancer research, and that's pretty exciting. And then I'm really trying to like hone in on breast cancer, especially as someone who's also had like these um, like I have tumors everywhere. I had a tumor in my brain, and now I have like tumors in my breast as well, which are like not cancerous, so they're fine. But it's just like someone who's really like interested in how the genetics and the like pathophysiology behind tumors. So yeah, breast cancer is definitely a really like big topic that I'm really interested in, and also like in the future maybe I'll be either like GP. I think as a medical student, you're always like, oh, I want to explore other specialties. But statistically, 3 out of 4 doctors will be GPs. And it's only like 25% that become hospital like specialty registrars. So that's a really like humbling statistic to hear. This signifies like the importance that primary care practitioners have on our system and how important they are. Because I think the media like always like shows how GPs are taking so much time to do their own stuff. They have all this money, like 80,000 a year, and all they do is like refer patients, and they can't like um they don't have like time for patients, and they just like if anything goes too hard, they just give up and send you to the hospital. But that's not the case at all, because GPs have so much more scope behind the scenes that you don't understand, like most patients don't understand. And so yeah, potentially a GP. That's likely where I'll go. But if not, I might do radiology as well, because I love like just interpreting like anatomy and interpreting like CT scans, MRI scans. You do ultrasounds and all that thing. You can also have your own like ultrasound clinic, so you can be like imaging babies and pregnant moms, and that's kind of cute. um, what else did I do? I think I definitely want to start continuing my social media. I think there's so many prominent like influencers or content creators in the medical space, even as their doctors. And definitely, I think professionalism won't be as big of an issue, because especially as a patient, like you want your stuff to be confidential. So there's no filming in the hospital. There's no like showing your day to day life in the hospital as a doctor. But I think once you overcome that, and you just like show your day behind the scenes, and not necessarily putting like really confidential patient information on the screen and on Instagram and TikTok, like that's totally fine. Especially since a lot of people have also managed to balance 2 careers at once, and just like was it like just smashing the like traditional and old mindsets that you can't do social media while doing a really like prestigious degree like law and medicine and engineering. Like you can't, like it's definitely not the case now, especially since you can definitely separate them and show that you can have a life outside of whatever like prestigious degree or job title you're encountering. So even though it's going to be hard, doing medicine is going to definitely take like 60 to 80-hour weeks, and it's not exciting for me at all. I'm definitely excited to continue social media and show that it's possible to do everything all at once. Yeah.
Wow. It's so exciting that you have so many different career options, and hey, social media is a great side hustle to do as well. So I really hope that you carry that on. And it's just so nice to see like people working in medical professional fields also raising a lot of awareness and just smashing it on social media as well. Like it is possible to do both. It's a lot of work, but both cases, like both kind of careers, are very rewarding. So that's so exciting.
It's definitely rewarding in different like aspects. I think medicine is like you see these in-person patient interaction. And I think for COVID, a lot of doctors spoke about how like it was hard to not get the body language of patients, how it was difficult to like not be with patients face to face. And I think for a lot of doctors, they still do telephone consultations, but for larger cases, they do tell, come in, like, let's have a chat. And I think speaking to doctors during their training like programs, they're like, they get a lot of like gifts from patients, and obviously that's allowed, but not like cash gifts or whatever. But it's really like it's really amazing to be with someone with a patient for like long term like relationship. So you have like a solidified like doctor patient contracts where they will come in whenever and then get to see how they age, like you're with them for like 10, 20 years, and you get to see their kids as well, and you get to like treat their kids as well. And it's just crazy to have that longevity in your career and being able to touch people in a way that's so different from everyday like life. So you wouldn't see this in like corporate, or you wouldn't see this in anywhere else. So it's a very humbling and it's a very rewarding job. But for social media, I think it's more rewarding in the sense that like you get to impact people online, which is a larger and more broad and more generalized scope. So you don't have the same like geographical, like in-person like things. But of course, like having these online relationships, especially like you and I, like having that online like presence and finding your person or whatever like online because of not having these geographical like restrictions. That's really amazing. And yeah, it's the social media aspect of it all. And yeah, just combining these two roles is really empowering. And it's also a very unique position to be in. And I'm so grateful for everything.
Oh, that's so nice. You did mention that you do have tumors still, but they're not like life-threatening.
Yeah, so they're benign.
I don't know much about that. Can you just explain, like, are you going to get them taken out? Are they okay where they are?
So tumors can either be cancerous or non-cancerous. And the way you can measure it is just to get like pathology. So they stick a needle and you take a sample out and they look at it under the microscope, like over a few days, I think. And then they'll see like if it is metastasizes, like so like if it grows or it doesn't. And benign ones is like they have a very slow growth rate. They don't really like change cell type, so they just remain the same. And that was the case for my brain tumor as well as my breast tumors. So since they're not really like a danger or a threat to any other place in the body, it's totally fine to just leave it there. Of course, it's annoying because every time I sleep, I'd like feel it and I just like icky because these are adenomas, so they're tiny tumors, so they will like move in your boob, which sounds a bit weird.
So
Trust me, it sounds really weird. It's just like when I tell people to feel it, it's like when I first got it, I was like, feel my boob, like it's on the bottom. So it's not really a boob. But I'm that person who's like kind of like show and tell, like, guys, touch the bottom. Like it's super cool. But also everyone was like, ew, like, why does it feel like that? Like when you push it, it like moves away. It's like you're essentially trying to catch it all the time, but you can't. Yeah, everyone person that will tell you to feel it right now. But I have a lot. I have like 3 and then 1 and the other. It's just very strange. But
wow.
Of course, like taking it out is definitely like less essential because of the NHS, so they don't do anything non-essential. So you just learn to live with it. But if it really annoyed me, of course you can go private. But it's not really a bother. It's not a nuisance. It's a fun like party trick or something.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's a fancy trick or like, an interesting fact that you can just whip out, if you just meet someone, you can be like, hey, this is something cool. Do you want to feel?
Cop a feel right now. That's their new breast cancer campaign. So I probably shouldn't be joking about that. But yeah, definitely get a feel of this.
Wow. Wow. Okay, that's interesting. I'm learning a lot here. I like to finish my podcast by just asking a nice little question to all my interviewees. What is a piece of advice that you would give to someone who is struggling? Maybe, in your case, you've got the brain tumors, you've got PCOS as well. Like, do you have a separate advice for both? Someone who's maybe struggling with a new diagnosis or just having a rough time?
Honestly, like when I was going through the same thing, I was always questioning like why did this happen to me? But also it definitely wastes a lot of time dwelling on things that you can't necessarily change. And the fact that you can't change the past means that it might be a sign to like progress. And obviously like you deal with information differently, but having the power to change the trajectory of your life, whether it was something that's really negatively happening to you currently or has happened to you, and you're able to learn from that experience and move on in a different way that you usually would, things will definitely get better. I know it did for me, and it just takes time. I think for the first 2 years after my tumor, I went through a really rough patch in sixth form, just struggling to fit in, struggling to find a culture and a friend group and a solidified like family that I could always turn to. But especially everything heals with time, everything will get better. Yeah, honestly, just don't beat yourself up over not healing, because that's completely your own path to go off of. And there's no like step by step way to like get over it or get over a really traumatic event. Like just make sure you give yourself adequate time and space to heal. And yeah, honestly, I hope everyone has like a really happy career plan that they're happy with, because everyone's so different. So if I was doing like perhaps your job, it wouldn't be as fulfilling. But if you did like my job, you wouldn't get used to it. So it's just having the right personality for the right job. That doesn't really feel like a job, but at the end of the day, it is. And we're all really fortunate to be in that position. A lot of waffle, but hopefully that
No.
made a bit of sense.
I love a waffle. Anyone new who listens to this podcast knows I love a yap. So this is perfect. Thank you so much for coming on and just sharing just little snippets of your life with us. It's been so nice to get to know you. And I wish you all the best for your lecture and for the rest of your studies. And I can't wait to just keep following you on socials and see how you grow and where life takes you. It's so exciting.
Thank you so much. I'm definitely excited to follow you.
Thank you so much. That's so nice. Once I meet someone, I'm like, I have to know everything and I want to just follow you and like just keep getting to know you forever.
No, like that's the life of a lecturer, isn't it?
Literally. That is me to a T. But thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to follow the podcast on your favorite podcast platform and don't forget to rate it 5 stars. It really helps me out. Don't forget to subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. And thank you so much to Cure LGMD2I for sponsoring this podcast. I will speak to you guys very soon in another couple weeks. But until then, bye.